purpose was and still is to restore us to God's favor and God's gracious mercies. This word, this good news, was painfully needed in their world. They lived under the thumb and the eye of the Roman Empire, the empire that controlled their lives and their thinking. The emperor declared that he was, quote, of the gods, meaning he was the Son of God. And he demanded uncritical loyalty and worship, even of the Hebrews. The Hebrews and their Abba, Yahweh, was in direct 180-degree opposition to emperor worship. So the Romans and the Pharisees got into an unholy bid, creating this child, if you will, which keep the Hebrews at peace with Rome, but they do so at the risk of their souls and their safety and their faith. And when Jesus came along, that's like pouring gas onto the fire. It really created a problem. As what did Jesus' followers call him? What did Paul say in Romans 9? Jesus Christ is Lord. That was the first creed statement of faith. That's as far back as we can trace anything like an Apostles' Creed or a Nicene Creed. We'll go all the way back to those first words that Paul spoke in Romans 9. Jesus Christ is Lord. Caiaphas, Pilate, and the Pharisees were impotently afraid of Jesus because they feared the anger of Rome upon their heads if Jesus Christ is Lord became a rallying cry. For you see, the Romans considered this treason. They thought it was sedition. And they accused Christians of being atheists. You know why? Because they didn't believe in the God of the emperor. They were atheists. They don't believe in God. They believe in this long-haired, hippie-looking woodcarver. So Jesus was ultimately crucified as a threat to the government. But Rome and the Pharisees, thank God, did not see Easter coming. Well, should rephrase that. Unfortunately, they did not see Easter coming. The gracious faith of Christ continues today. You and I carry this on as we proclaim Jesus Christ as Lord. Not a politician like Pilate or Caesar. Not an ideology. But Jesus crucified, as our communion liturgy says, crucified, died on the cross, and coming again. And guess who was at the burial of Jesus? Assisting in preparing his body for burial. Nicodemus. Now, given the fact that he was a Pharisee, one might muse, well, he was there to make sure the sentence was carried out or to make sure the Pharisees were represented. No. Nicodemus was there because of that seaside walk at dusk with Jesus. Because you know what Nicodemus did? He helped prepare the body for burial. He helped take the body of Jesus down from the cross, the legend has it. And he assisted with finding the tomb of Joseph of Arimathea. So it looks like Nico got it. He understood. He understood the difference between the way he was carrying out his Hebrew faith and the way Jesus was coming along, totally reinterpreting Jewish and Hebrew thought. And this is the same question we need to ask ourselves as we get up every morning. Me too. Do I get it? Do we get it? Every morning, do I get it? How can I be Jesus wherever I go? How can I be Jesus at the golf course? How can I be Jesus in Nichols? How can I be Jesus walking the Strand? How can I be Jesus in Wilmington visiting my granddaughter? How can I be Jesus authentically? Challenges of our world are just about as great, if not greater, given the number of people and the technology available. As the African American preacher puts it, folks, we's being a mess. And that's not an understatement. We are divided racially. We are divided politically. We are divided in about every elite you can think of. And what I think is going to have to happen is a massive re-getting it. The church is going to have to, in its new form, and let's not make any bones about it, beloved, the church is not going to be like it was before. It can't be. CDC and other regulations and all sorts of things are going to make how we worship and how we do church differently. But it doesn't have to be bad, because it can re-steer our focus onto a passage in Matthew about feeding the hungry, clothing the naked, listening to the imprisoned, being there for someone who's sick and aged and who gets lonely and lost. That's when we start doing that, that's when we can say, yeah, today I got it. And tomorrow, I'll wake up again and hope that I can get it again. Got it again. In the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen. Closing hymn. Back to my bulletin. If you have your Methodist hymnal with you, it is 389. Freely, Freely is the title. I'll be singing it, and if you don't have a Methodist hymnal, that's fine. You know the words, sing along with me. I bet you sing just as pretty as Kathy does. So let's sing together. I believe 2 verses. Is that what we're doing? 2 verses of hymn number 389. Freely, Freely. Very famous prayer that goes back to the 13th century. It was written by St. Francis of Assisi, and it has been prayed millions of times since. And we're going to use this prayer as our benediction. Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. And where there is sadness, joy. O divine teacher, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, and to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive, it is in pardoning that we are pardoned, and it is in dying that we are born to eternal life. Amen. one quick announcement, and then we'll close our service with the postlude, and it will be the Gloria Patri. Please continue, if members of Nichols, please continue to support our church financially. Some folks we're finding out are using the donate button on the website, not the Facebook page, but the website, nicholsumc.com. Is that it? And there's a button to donate. That money goes straight from your bank account to the church's bank account, and Catherine will get a note about it. So, and some people are using that to continue supporting our church. Now, if you're not a member of Nichols Church, two things. One, we are so glad you're worshiping with us. We appreciate you very much. Two, if you're a member of another church, please continue to support your church because they have the same needs. And if you don't have any kind of church affiliation, please consider a reliable and reputable COVID-19 charity. There's a bunch of scams out there. Make sure if you do that, make sure you check that they're reliable and that their money is going to go where it says it's going to go. With that, thank you for worshiping with us today, or whenever you worship. This service will be available all week. And then we will next Sunday, or for next Sunday, we'll prepare another one. Let's sing now our postlude, and we will be completed.
Thank you for joining us today.